Hello everybody, it's Santa, and in today's Art Showdown, I'm going to be comparing two very well-known acrylic paint lines, Golden Acrylics and Liquitex Acrylics. Acrylic paints are a relatively new medium. They were invented in the early part of the 20th century, whereas watercolors and oil paints have been around for a few centuries. Liquitex actually sold the first commercially available water-soluble acrylic paint in the 1950s, and Golden started selling their lines in the 1980s. Both companies have a wide range of acrylic products available, but for this video, I'm specifically focusing in on the heavy body lines. So let's start off with what each brand has to say about their paint. This is from product information I found from jerrysartorama.com. So Golden's key features are they are exceptionally smooth, rich, and have a buttery consistency. They dry quickly, they're permanent and archival in quality. They have the ability to stand up and retain brush strokes. They retain excellent flexibility when dry, diminishing the possibility of cracking. The heavy body of viscosity can be reduced successfully with water. There's over 101 different colors, shades, and tints. There are 30 colors that are mixture colors, and the rest are produced from single unique pigments. And they have concentrated cadmiums. Liquitex says its key features are they have a range of 100 professional colors, they're flexible when dry, they have a smooth, thick, buttery consistency, they have outstanding clarity and brilliance of color, they have 7 new cadmium-free colors, they retain brush strokes and palette knife marks. So now that Liquitex and Golden have told us about their products, let's move on to my pros and cons for each. So let's start off with Golden. Golden paints have a very heavy pigment load, and a little bit goes a really long way. And also, they are indeed buttery and quite smooth. I really like that about these. So Golden blends absolutely beautifully with and without medium. And because of their blendability, you can get all kinds of really cool effects with them. Golden paints also thin out very well with water, and thanks to their high pigment load, you can get really beautiful acrylic washes, and you can even get some really beautiful watercolor effects. So Golden's packaging is really nice, and they do actual paint swatches on the tube so you can see with more accuracy what the paint is going to look like. They have a lot of really beautiful colors. On top of that, they also have a line of iridescent colors that are beautiful. They're so nice. So now let's talk about the cons of Golden. Golden paints are pretty expensive. They can run as high as $15 for a 2-ounce tube, and they can be even more expensive if you buy them at a craft store versus an art store. Golden paints dry really fast without a retarder or a constant mist of water. So if you forget to mist it like once, your paint's basically gonna dry out. Last but not least, because of the high pigment load, which is a benefit, but because of it, you can sometimes overestimate how much paint you need and therefore end up wasting paint. And this paint is kind of expensive, so you don't want to waste it. But yeah. Alrighty, so let's move on to Liquitex's pros. Liquitex has a wide variety of colors, and they have something that they call their brilliant color line, which are basically neon, so that's pretty cool. So Liquitex holds texture really well, and it looks really great if you do bold strokes with a palette knife. Liquitex paints are actually decently priced for artist quality paints, and they run a couple dollars cheaper than Golden. Liquitex is also pretty opaque, and they cover most surfaces decently well. So let's move on to the cons. So Liquitex's pigment load doesn't seem to be that high. When you thin them out with water, they lose a lot of their color and saturation. The low pigment load also means that Liquitex does not do acrylic washes very well. Oftentimes the colors are way too desaturated, and the wash usually comes out uneven. The blending is also pretty inconsistent between colors with Liquitex. Some colors blend together absolutely beautifully, and then with other colors, it's a huge frustration and fight to get them to blend at least decently well, like if at all. And lastly, the packaging. Instead of doing swatches on the tube, they just have a printed color swatch, which is really frustrating because you can't tell what the paint is. You have to physically open up the tube in order to see what the colors look like, because these can be drastically different from the paint inside the tube. So that was the pros and cons of each product, and between the two, the one I prefer the most is Golden. So I've been using Golden for a really long time, and I've done dozens of pieces with it, so I'm a little bit more familiar with Golden than I am with Liquitex. So I bought a couple of tubes of Liquitex paint and the classic starter kit from Liquitex to test out the heavy body paints. and I did a small monarch butterfly study. I used my normal typical painting surface, which is the ampersand gesso board, and I used a lot of my normal techniques with it, so I could get a better sense of how Liquitex is. I got really frustrated working with Liquitex because my painting style mainly consists of soft blending, acrylic washes, and glazing, and Liquitex is just really not suited for that. You know, it's not a bad thing that Liquitex can't do a lot of acrylic washes and glazes, because guess what? It's excellent at holding texture, and it's great for people who want to do a lot of abstract art or really graphic art and who want a lot of texture in their paintings. Liquitex is excellent at retaining their texture, and they're a lot of fun to work with when you play with a palette knife. I actually did a test and played with a palette knife with them. They're a lot of fun. So if you like that type of painting, Liquitex is definitely the product for you. If you're more like me and you prefer acrylic washes and soft glazing and soft blending, Golden would be a much better option. Alrighty, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you liked this video, then give me a thumbs up so I know, and don't forget to subscribe so you can see more art showdowns in the future. Also, if you want to continue following my art journey, then make sure you follow me on my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!